Well, guys, another Prism event is on, and this one I will not be summoning on because I ain't got that kind of money. But basically, we have a Sylvan summon pool, and I wanted to go over whether or not I think this is a good thing to pull on. Obviously, before going into this, like compared to real life stuff, this is not worth it. This game is, at the end of the day, a bunch of pixels, and you're paying a lot more than you probably should for pixels. I mean, $50 to do 5 pulls, you know, it's not really a good deal. So at the end of the day, the verdict is going to be do not buy it. Do not buy Prisms. But in the comparison to the rest of the game, is this a good thing to pull on? Well, that's what I'm going to be evaluating today with you guys. First of all, how many of these legendaries are worth pulling for? Blade Chorister Kaldor is solid. He is the main, highlight. He's the headline champion. Headline basically means for the aura, it does two things. First of all, ally crit rate in all battles, 25%, but it also increases ally speed in all battle by 15% for Sylvan Watchers. That's the main gimmick of him. So he is a very solid unit. If you're looking to have one of the strongest possible starts, make sure to click the link in the description to get a free legendary Bambus 4-leaf and one of the best epics in the game to gore as you level up. Now, to make it happen, here are all the steps you need to follow. Number 1, make sure you are logged out of Plarium Play on PC, or you just don't have it installed at all. The next step, you just gotta go into the description, click the link, and register with a brand new email. Once you launch Raid and complete the tutorial, go to the mail, and there sitting will be your free legendary, and the epic will come soon after once you hit level 15. Starts like this in gachas are unheard of. Click my link right now and get the start that you deserve. First of all, A1 attacks all enemies, has a 15%, 25% when booked, chance of placing stun for 1 turn, will ignore 20% of each target's resistant for each continuous heal buff on this champion. Which is really good. This is a good ability. The A1 is almost always going to be put out. Stuns, I mean, this is freaking like a stun set just built into his kit. A2, I mean, 3-turn cooldown. There's so much reading in this thing. Select a target. If it's an enemy, decreases duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn. Places poison debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Additional 5% poison for 2 turns for each continuous heal buff on this champion. These debuffs cannot be resisted. Then he instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies. But if you select an ally, increases duration of all buffs by all allies by 1 turn. Activates all continuous heal buffs on all allies. Perfect Veil buff on this champion for 2 turns. Also places continuous heal on this champion for 2 turns. Another continuous heal buff for each alive ally. Finally fills this champion's turn meter by 15% for each buff or debuff placed by the skill. This is a long ass thing to read. This is a very good ability. There's so much versatility here. A3. 3-turn cooldown, Sylvan Watcher immunity, but basically attacks an enemy. Before attacking, has a chance of removing all buffs from the target, places decreased debuff and weaken, will ignore 20% of the target's resistance for each continuous heal buff. Damage based off of enemy max HP as well. Amazing, right? And if you have a couple allies, removes all buffs from all enemies. If the initial target is killed, cannot be resisted. If you have 2 faction allies, ignores 5% of the target's defense for each poison debuff on them and each continuous heal buff on this champion. 3 faction allies makes it so if the initial target is under a poison debuff, also attacks all other enemies. The damage dealt is proportional to the initial target's max HP, how many poison debuffs are on them, and if the initial target is a boss or a minion, damage dealt is equal to 10% of their max HP. This guy is pretty damn crazy, and we didn't even get to his passive. Ignores 15% of target's defense when attacking while under Veil or Perfect Veil. Champion receives 30% less damage from enemies when not under a Veil or Perfect Veil. 1 ally, each continuous heal buff on this champion increases their crit rate by 20%. 2 faction allies, each time a continuous heal buff activates on this champion, heals their turn meter. 3 faction allies, each time a continuous heal buff activates on this champion or ally, increases the damage by this champion, stacking up to 150%. This guy is really good. I will say, definitely a positive on this banner, definitely a good option. Moving on to Eostrid, she is, I don't even know if I said that right, but basically she's the support. She's pretty solid as well. Attacks an enemy, chance of sleep. If it's under decreased speed or weaken, has a 100% chance of sleep. A2, tackle enemies, decrease speed, weaken, also decreases turn meter. Really good ability, 3-turn cooldown. A3 places increased speed, increased attack, fills turn meters of all allies, grants an extra turn. Essentially, functionally a 3-turn cooldown after the extra turn. This is really good. Her passive, whenever this champion or ally has their turn meter increased, heals all allies based on their max HP. The percentage value of the heal is equal to half of the turn meter increase. She also has 28% ally speed in arena battles. She is worth it, in my opinion. She is good. Glycad of the Meltwater is another support. Attacks an enemy twice, chance of placing freeze. If it has less than 50% HP, debuff cannot be resisted. A2 places a increased attack buff on all allies. Chance to place a perfect veil buff on all allies by him. Fills turn meter. 4-turn cooldown. Good ability there. A3, 4-turn cooldown. Revives all dead allies. Increased accuracy buff. Increased defense buff. Will be placed even if no allies were revived. And if no allies were revived, he gets an extra turn. Really solid. So you could use this as a reviving. Use this as a buffing. Who cares? Passive, allies under a perfect veil placed by this champion deal more damage. And enemies under a perfect, or allies under a perfect veil buff placed by this champion deal extra damage to enemies under veil and perfect veil. He also has ally speed in all battle. He is really good. We are 3 for 3 so far on people that, in my opinion, are worth it. Now we get to Kaoilt. I'm not even gonna try. The Ash Arrow. He attacks an enemy, places increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns. A2 attacks an enemy twice. If the initial target is killed, also attacks the enemy with the lowest HP. Both attacks will ignore 50% of the target's defense, as well as unkillable and block damage. 4-turn cooldown. A3, 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies. Each crit fills this champion's turn meter by 10% and heals them by 10% of the max HP, up to 50%. If he kills an enemy, unkillable on him. And its passive is 2-parter. When this champion or ally's turn meter is decreased, increase the damage of this champion's next attack by 20%, up to 100%. Pretty cool ability there. And the active effect, whenever this champion's turn meter drops below 25% because of a turn meter reduction effect, puts a block debuffs buff on this champion and gives him an extra turn. He's pretty interesting in my opinion. But do I think he's worth it? I mean, I think he's cool. I think you absolutely could get use from him if you were earlier on. When you're later on, maybe a bit less. I'm not going to put him in a worth it. I'm going to put him in a not worth it. He's not a bad person to have, but I wouldn't seek him out. Next, we get to Elva. Elva is pretty damn solid. First of all, ally speed in all battles by 90%. A1, attack an enemy, puts continuous heal buff for 2 turns on the ally with the lowest HP. A2, 3-turn cooldown. 100% chance of removing all debuffs from all allies. Full cleanse, amazing. Places a block debuffs and an increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. A3 revives a target ally with 40% HP, 50% turn meter, puts decreased defense and increased attack buff on the ally for 2 turns. 3-turn cooldown, that is a good ability. Passive heals each ally by 10% of their max HP at the start of their turn. Perfect veil buff on 1 turn for 1 turn on the ally with the lowest HP at the end of this champion's turn. Elva is an amazing healer, really solid reviver, really good hero. Definitely a must pull. We're 4 for 1 right now. That then brings us to King Galabalabar, and this guy is kind of interesting. He's a support champion, attacks an enemy, places shield on the ally with the lowest HP. Value of the shield is equal to 15% of the ally's max HP. A2 attacks all enemies, 3-turn cooldown. Chance of removing all buffs, which is really good. Places poison on each enemy for each buff removed from them. Then has a chance of placing block buffs, debuffs on all enemies for 1 turn. It's only 1 turn, which kind of sucks. A3 removes all debuffs from all allies, places continuous heal, then places shield buff on all allies. The value of the shield is equal to 25% of the champion's max HP. A lot of things are happening. Passive, whenever an enemy under a poison debuff attacks an ally under a shield buff, instantly activates a poison debuff on the enemy and instantly activates a continuous heal buff on the attacked ally. Overall, what do I think of Galakabar? I think he's solid. I'm gonna put him in kind of, I'll put him in the must pull, but realistically, he doesn't do a lot of damage, which is not his purpose, obviously. But overall, I mean, he's really solid for stripping buffs, cleansing. I think he's pretty good. I will put him in the must pull section. Next, we get to Oella. another support. So many supports in here. A1 attacks an enemy, chance of placing decreased speed, debuff cannot be resistive, ult of the shell is on the same team, which probably not. A2 heals all allies 30%, increases the duration of all ally buffs. A3 fills turn meter by 30%, increased resistance, 3 turn cooldown. And then the passive, whenever an ally loses 15% or more of their max HP, places a continuous heal for 1 turn, places continuous heal buff for 2 turns on the ally, then instantly activates it if ult of the shell is on the same team. Can only occur once to an ally per turn. I think she's decent. Do I think she's a must pull? Nah, I'm good. I'm good, brother. She's solid. You will get some use out of her, but I don't think she's worth pulling on. Next, we get the Feral, which in a couple of people's opinion is the main reason why you would want to pull on this. A1, decrease speed. If the target is a boss, will ignore the resistance. A2, attacks all enemies. 3 turn cooldown. 100% chance of putting decreased accuracy and block buffs. If the target is a boss, ignores the resistance. A3, 4 turn cooldown. Increase resistant all allies. It's perfect Veil buff on all allies, except this champion for 2 turns. That's really solid. Now the passive, Spirit of the North. If an ally is under 2 more debuffs, increases the resistance by 50. 3 more buffs, 50 accuracy. 4 buffs, also increases their damage. If there are multiple champions on the team, only one will act. This guy, from what I hear, is freaking busted. I don't fully know that much about him, I'll be completely honest. But from what I hear, he is absolutely a must pull. Next we get to Grand Oak Pad Reg. I don't know why he's named that, but he certainly is interesting. A1 attacks an enemy, has a chance of decreasing cooldown of a random ally's active skill. A2 teams up with all allies to attack a single enemy. Allies joining the attack will use their default skills. Also fully restores all allies destroyed max HP. Continuous heal as well. A3 fills the turn meter of all allies by 20. Then removes all debuffs and increased speed. Sheesh, that is really good. Then the passive, at the start of the champion's turn, places a buff on each ally for 1 turn, depending on the attack type. Attack gets increased attack, defense gets increased defense, support gets increased accuracy, and HP gets a shield buff. This guy is really good. I'm gonna be real. I didn't think he'd be this good reading through it, but honestly, I think he's very solid, and you'll get a lot of use out of him. Overall, legendaries are all really good, but how are the epics? First of all, Duaden, solid. We have Mist Rider. Friggin' no, that's not the guy. Is it the guy? I don't remember. No, Ruella is who I was thinking of. She's good. Attacks 3 times. Each critical hit has a chance of stealing turn meter. Attacks an enemy 3 times. Each hit has decreased defense, weaken, and then decreased speed. And then the passive is going to be fills turn meter of all allies and place. No, sorry, this isn't the passive. This is an ability. My bad. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 20%. And crit rate on them as well. She's pretty solid. And Myalic Priest Ornn is really good too. A1, poisons. A2, activates poisons. A3, poison sensitivity. Passive, whenever a poison debuff is activated, increases HP and defense. Makes him really tanky. He's really good. There's a couple other solid epics in there. Croydon is really good. A1, triple hitter, puts out freeze. A2, puts out freeze, 2-hitter. A3, increased speed buff and turn meter control. Fills the champion's turn meter for each freeze debuff placed. Croydon really good too. I think overall, if you are a spender, you are planning on spending on prisms, which in my opinion, for this game, prisms are more reliable than other summons. I think they're, you're gonna get on average better things. I like prisms a lot. I think they're solid. You're not gonna get a lot of things from them, but they're all going to be, one of these, which is really good. Limited summon pool is something so rare for this game. And this is a good prism pool, honestly. A lot of these heroes are good. I don't think there's any single hero in this, or a single legendary champion, which I would say is bad. These are all good. Obviously, some are better than others. I think if you are going to pull prisms, this is definitely worth it, and you're more than welcome. Just be careful, spend reliably, do not spend outside of your means ever. Just some advice from me. You really don't want to damage your life by pulling in freaking Raid. Let's be real. I know I'm sponsored by Raid, blah, 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 but please do not take this as a, you must summon, even if you gotta pay off your mortgage. That's what I'm trying to say. If you plan on spending, it's a good deal. That's all I want to say. I'm not going to be pulling though, because I am not rich. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate y'all as always. Like and subscribe if you want to support the channel. And that's it from me, Destin, signing out.